The Republicans care about as much about the poor in their own states as they do about democracy, and they're demonstrating it in Missouri, where 8 months after voters approved it by a fairly wide margin, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe signed the repeal of a law that had guaranteed paid sick leave to workers and inflationary adjustments to the minimum wage. So basically a little bit more sick time and also higher minimum wage. The voters said we want it, and the Republicans there said, go F yourself. So that law had allowed employees to earn 1 hour of paid sick time for every 30 hours worked starting on the 1st of May. The governor described the paid sick leave law as an onerous mandate that had imposed burdensome record keeping. And that is at least consistent for the Republicans. You're not supposed to put burdensome record keeping on the lap of corporations. You're supposed to put it on the laps of people who get SNAP benefits or Medicaid so that they get so overwhelmed by it that they no longer take out those benefits that they have earned. But anyway, yeah, it's super clear what the voters wanted. 58% said yes to the increased minimum wage and sick leave. And the Republicans there said, oh, that's interesting. A majority of the voters want this? Yeah, but see, my donors, the corporations don't. So which way do you think they're gonna go? Well, it's too late, they already chose. And so here is one of those state representatives, Republican Mitch Boggs, who said, if we don't protect our businesses, there's not going to be a job to go to get them a minimum wage on. Of course the people voted for it. It'd be like asking your teenager if you wanted a checkbook. You know, they're gonna vote for it every time. Yeah, I mean, if you make it up to a particular group, whether the government gives them things, of course they're gonna do it. Which is why the government keeps giving the rich and corporations things. They were paid by them. But I love the idea that this guy who owns a truck wash and a construction business can just vote on a thing that helps himself out while saying that you guys are being selfish. When a bunch of people who don't even get minimum wage are voting to increase minimum wage, they're being selfish. Also, I love there that he says, if we don't protect our businesses, there's not gonna be a job to go to. When this is a reminder to the Republicans of Missouri, kick him out of his job because he's not listening to you and he doesn't care about you. Unless you own a corporation, unless you're donating to him, he doesn't give a damn how overwhelmingly you vote for something. And this, of course, Brett, as I'm sure you know, is a pattern that we have seen in states across America. Florida does it constantly. They vote for things and then the Republicans who control the legislature and the governorship say, we don't care what you said. This is not a democracy. What do you think?
Well, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Like, and it's not just those states. Maine has done it. Maine has had to fight a lot to get their like ranked choice voting and various other initiatives get them actually enacted years after they were voted on in a public referendum. We covered some story recently where before they looked at an initiative that was about to pass in a referendum and they found out what the margin was, and then they voted within the legislature to raise the threshold slightly higher than what the support was at the time. Basically, oh, this has 58% support. Okay, before they vote on it, why don't we make it 65% support in order for it to happen? Which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Now, there's tons of stuff that in checks and balances in the Constitution that's supposed to prevent the abuse of power. But what has ended up happening is it has prohibited in many cases the proper use of power, which is what the people want. Much of the checks and balances are like, okay, let's make sure that there isn't just one small group that took control of the government and suddenly can get all authoritarian with it. We've put in those checks and balances, but over time they've been eroded by horrible people where they're like, oh no, let's make sure that if everyone wants stuff, that if you want to have a list of it, you can go to the populist plank, just Google that, tyt.com/campaign/populist-plank. Higher wages, paid family leave, no more wars, negotiate all drug prices, money out of politics, and banning private equity from buying up homes. These are things that most Americans agree with. But there was a study done, what's that?
Which you've always loved.
Which I've always loved. And there's an amazing video you should also find with like Jennifer Lawrence in it, where she explains that they did a study and we're like, so let's take stuff that most Americans want and stuff that no Americans want and see what's more or less likely to happen. Is something more likely to happen because more Americans want it? And as far as Congress is concerned, the answer is no. There is 0% more likelihood of something happening when it has way more public support because Congress is in the pockets of the rich and influential.
Yeah.
And when we have referenda on the ballot that could potentially give us the kinds of stuff that folks have been fighting for. And if you look at trends until the elites got power, we were on our way to that being like minimum wage growing commensurately with productivity and even the consumer price index. It stopped at a certain point. And this is a way to get us back on track. And wouldn't you know it, the people who are powerful are like, but this can't happen. I'm powerful. And worse, sorry I'm going on, but worse, they're so condescending to us.
Yeah.
They called us teenagers trying to get a checkbook. No. These people have checkbooks, mother,
Yeah.
And there's no money in the bank account that their checkbook is referring to when they try to write a check to buy their kids meals.
Exactly.
To buy their kids books, to buy their kids clothes. And guess whose bank accounts are full and only get fuller over time? The gajillionaires who are stopping democracy from happening.
Exactly.
I'm not the only one with this opinion. There's millions and millions of us. And this story is about how we need to find a way to get heard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the thing that should happen is that anyone who voted for this ballot measure and then watched their elected representatives spit in their face should not support that person again. But the issue is that they're gambling in the legislature that won't happen, and they're probably right. Plenty of people who voted for this are gonna be like, yeah, Republicans should still take control. That's my fear. I had heard about that study. I didn't know that Jennifer Lawrence did a video about it. I do wanna see that though. That does sound interesting.